welcome. User testing isn't the easiest thing to do. It's a skill and it can be perfected. And so thanks for joining. And we really hope that the material that we prepared and our insights will help you get on the road running with user testing. So I'm going to stop sharing this poll. Something that we're going to get started talking about right now is Gigo. What's that? Maybe Euan, would you like to
sure.
Let us
Happy
know?
to. But yeah, that's two pretty unanimous polls. So we have a lot of designers and researchers here, which is always great to see. And a lot of you, or the vast majority of you, have done some user testing before. So that's also really exciting. So yeah, Gigo, in my Scottish accent there, basically means garbage in equals garbage out. It's originally, I think it's a computer science concept, but it definitely applies to user testing. And that's why we decided to run this webinar today about efficient user testing, because, user testing, unless you're incredibly lucky, most of the time is not free. So you need to really make sure that what you're putting in is going to bring good insights, good results, and help you to improve your user experience. Before we get into it, we've just got a couple more polls, so bear with us because it's going to shape the course of the webinar.
I'm going to launch one more poll here. The question now, it's popping up on your screen, is what's your experience level? How much user testing experience do you have? Maybe you have a lot of experience testing across various platforms. Maybe you have some experience in user testing. Or maybe you're asking yourself, what is user testing? And maybe that's something that we can answer. All right, we got everyone. I'm going to share the poll results now. Wow. So everyone has some experience. 6 of us on the meeting say that they have a lot of experience, and I can see 2 very brave participants saying, what is user testing? So thank you guys. This really helps us shape our webinar for today. So what is Userbrain? Once again, I gave a little bit of an introduction to us. What we do is unmoderated remote user testing. And this is what we view as our platform to be as a tool. And we really work that across our panel of quality assured testers. In fact, it's over 100,000 quality assured testers that have all joined our platform, that have passed quality assurance tests, that we've ensured that these are testers who are going to give ample and correct feedback. And they provide feedback to you in user testing and with recordings between 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. And so this helps you find people who interact with your platform, find people who look at your website, look at your prototypes, and you gain some test reports and insights from them. And so something that we're going to be talking about also today is our newest feature. We just, drum roll, just released automated transcripts. And we're going to look at how those help as well.
Yeah, so we actually released that today. And that is something that will, spoiler alert, save a lot of time when you're conducting your user tests. So we're excited to talk about that. Basically, the whole point of Userbrain, or using Userbrain, as a lot of you will know, is to uncover hidden usability problems and to really kind of understand your users, your customers, and understand what they're going through when they use your product. So we actually, if you haven't already started Userbrain free trial, we do offer 2 user tests for free. It's absolutely for free. You don't need to input any credit card details. There's no time limit or anything like that. All you have to do is scan the QR code, enter your first name and your email address, and you're good to go. Sort of like a little try before you buy. So I'm going to leave that up for a few more seconds before we begin, just so you can take full advantage of that. And Jonathan, I think before we get started, you just have one question, a bit of a rhetorical question, and please, we would like you to write your answers in the chat. So Jonathan, over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Euan. So when it comes to user testing, most of us know what's involved. We set up our test, we launch our test, we get our feedback, and we study that feedback. Now, here with Userbrain, we want things to be as simple as possible. So you're going to get really fast sign up, like what Euan just showed. You can quickly sign up for us, get 2 free tests, launch a test within however long it takes you to sign up, instantly within a few hours, start getting feedback. But then here comes the question, what part of user testing takes the most time? So if you don't mind, who's on our call, go right down into the chat box down below and answer that question for us. It can be just 1 word, 2 words. Someone says chat's disabled. I do apologize for that. There you go. In the Q&A box, you can also enter in any questions along the way. Jason says planning the test. Daniel says recruitment. Toomey says planning, again, recruitment, analysis, writing the script, writing objectives, test scenarios, synthesizing, interpreting results, test cases creation, planning, finding the right users, analysis of the results to procure insights. Nice. Building the prototype. Yeah, those are all very valid responses to that question. What takes the most amount of time? Something that we found that takes the most amount of time here on Userbrain, because finding recruitment, finding your testers is automatic on our platform. So that's going to be working in the background. I mean, you can go off, do other things. Something that we found is exactly what one of our participants said, analyzing the results to procure insights. So that's something that we're going to be talking about here on this webinar. So Euan, back to you.
Yeah, sure. And it's great to see such a sort of a mixed bag of results, of opinions there, because, you know, the user testing process, it's not going to be the same for everyone, and it shouldn't be. Everyone is different. Everyone has different products, different needs, all the rest of it. So that's really encouraging to see that we have so much participation there too. So yeah, I really just want to dive into it now. Here's some strategies for task structure and time management with your user tests. So from analyzing the results, we're now going to flip it over and go back to the start of the process, which is setting up your test and writing your tasks. So thinking about garbage in, garbage out, this is definitely one of the ways that you can get the garbage out of the garbage in phase, if that makes sense. So first of all, what I would really encourage is that you set the scene. So the next slide I'm going to show you, this is roughly what your tester will see when they open your Userbrain test. So as you can see, they're going to see step 1, in this case, step 1 of 9. So immediately the tester is going to know there are 9 stages here. There could be 1 stage, there could be 5 stages, 12, whatever. Our guidelines are that tests should be between 5 and 20 minutes long as a maximum, with the best sort of tests usually being between 10 and 15 minutes. One, because you know, we pay all of our testers, and obviously we don't really want to take up too much of the tester's time for the sake of one test, so that's why we put in the 20-minute limit. But also more from your perspective as well as the user running the tests. If you're running a test of 5, 10, 15 participants, really it's going to be far too much work to analyze all of those 25, 30, 40-minute tests in detail. So that's why we put that limit in place. So really, by setting the scene, it gives you an opportunity to really set the pace, set the scene, and let the tester kind of know what's expected. So the first question I've asked here, this is actually a test that I've done for the purpose of this webinar. So I've just asked the testers here to describe their last car purchase out loud. So what that does again is it's setting the scene, and it's just kind of putting them in the zone of, okay, we're talking about cars. You know, this is the Porsche website. I've not asked them to do anything on the website yet. I'm just trying to get them in the zone, because, you know, if you've got 5 testers or 10 testers, you know, they're all at maybe different stages of the day. They're all in the different zones. Their heads in different places. This is a good way to sort of homogenize that and to try and get everyone into the same frame of mind, which, as you'll see, hopefully, will result in your results roughly being similar length. So yeah, that's one thing I recommend, is to set the scene. And yeah, here's a very funny GIF to illustrate that. Because the first mistake that we always say is to reveal everything up front. So for example, this would be, instead of saying describe your last car purchase, this would be a really bad example. This is the online shop of Porsche, where you can customize their cars and place an order. That's true. That's exactly what it is. But it's really not going to help you get good tester feedback or efficient test results. A lot of the time, unfortunately, users that are maybe a little bit more inexperienced with user testing, they think that the more detail I give, the better the results are that I will get, i.e. I will get more insights if I spell everything out and lead the tester down the exact path where I want them to go. In reality, we don't want to influence our testers at all. We just want them to sort of know what's happening roughly and to be in the right frame of mind to complete our tests. So this would be a better way of not revealing everything up front, and again, setting the scene. So please look at this site and explore it for a few minutes. Say everything that comes to your mind and tell us what you think it is about. So again, we're not revealing everything up front. We're just setting the scene, and we're just getting the tester in that frame of mind, immersing them in the test that we are starting to conduct. So you should always give context. Yeah, we're going to need more context, Jonathan. So don't tell your testers to try and find a car. They're on the Porsche website. They've probably made that connection already. This is about cars, you know, whether it's about buying a car, selling a car, reading car reviews, you know, that's not going to help your test. What we want to do is we want to give them context. We want to immerse them into the test scenario. And basically the testers should be able to really enjoy the situation that they're in. I don't really want to use the word role play, because, you know, we have demographic filters and you can pick an exact target audience if that's what you're looking for. Although on our research, we've kind of proven that you don't need to test with your target audience. Anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent we're getting off to now. So yeah, basically you want your testers to behave as they would do outside of your test situation. So when they might by chance go on Porsche's website, they might not be looking for a car. They might have gone there for a different reason, to see, you know, if there's a dealership nearby, or for any number of reasons. So again, what we want to do is immerse them into a situation. And the best word to use is imagine. So imagine that you've always wanted to own a Porsche since you were a little kid. I think for most of us here, that's probably not a stretch of the imagination. I think having a Porsche when you're a little kid is a very cool thing to have. So in this scenario, that's a very easy leap to make. always start with the context. So whether your product, whether you're working for Porsche, I don't think any of you are, but if you are, you know, we've run a test on your site for free, so enjoy the next 20 minutes. But whether you're working for Porsche, Userbrain, Microsoft, whatever it might be, you should always start with the context and try and make sure that your testers are completely immersed in what you're trying to achieve. And there's layers to this as well. So imagine that you've always wanted to own a Porsche since you were a little kid. That's step one. Now we're going to take that to the next level. In the past year, you received a substantial bonus from work, and now you finally have, I mean, ignore the money, it can be anything, to make your childhood dream come true. So and basically what we're saying is, imagine you can afford a Porsche, but what we've done is we've added another level of depth to that. So that's step 2 of 4. And now we're going to make it even deeper. So you live in a nice house in the suburbs with your spouse and 2 teenage kids, and your workplace is 40 minutes away from home. So we've added a little bit of a curveball there, because we've brought in the family situation. And as you know, Porsche are well known for their small 2-seater sports cars. But now we've kind of added a level of depth there, that actually you have different needs. And we're really sort of putting the imagination into overdrive here, because the tester is now fully immersed. Finally, try to find a car that meets your needs. So what we've actually done is we've taken that first question, the example we had of what not to do, try to find a car, and we flipped it over and we've put that at the end. That should be the last step. We're describing the context of the website. We're describing the context of the tester's situation in a realistic scenario that they can work with. And the tester should always be able to empathize with the situation, regardless of what product you have. So that's maybe just something to think about. You should always really be trying your best to create a scenario that testers can either relate to or they can empathize with, because that's how you're going to get the best results. And really, that's how you're going to get your testers to really take their time and to think about things, and to really just give you great examples of what we would call real human behavior, which is exactly what you want to see. Also, don't ask about usability. I hope that one speaks for itself. There's a great book, I forget the author, but it's called The Mum Test. And it was written a good few years ago, and it's mainly focused on startup founders. I see we have a few founders in today, which is great. So maybe you've read that book, or maybe you have if you're not a founder, because it's a really good book if you're doing anything with product. So if you're a UX designer, researcher, product manager, maybe you've also read that book. But basically, it's all about how we phrase our questions to avoid tainting the responses that we get. So don't ask how easy to use is our website, or is our search form intuitive. People rationalize their behavior. So you know, they might say something like, oh, I was distracted in the beginning, but now I fully understand it. You know, so you really don't want that kind of result, because if they're confused by your website, that's great, because you've worked out that, oh, this person is confused. So you shouldn't really try and bring them out of that confused state, because what you want to see is, again, it's this real human behavior. And then you can find out what is it that confused this tester, because I guarantee you that there are a lot of users, or some users at least, that will react the same way. So asking questions, you know, like, is our search form intuitive? That's not going to help you get what you want. But what will help you get to that is something like this. Imagine your girlfriend's birthday is next week and you're looking for a gift. You plan to spend a maximum of 50 euros, $50, £50, 50 South African rand. I don't know if that will get you a present. I'm not sure actually about the exchange rate at the moment. Yeah, so really what I'm getting at here is to learn about the usability of your product. Again, we're immersing the tester. We're putting the focus somewhere else. We're giving them a task that they can really become engrossed in and they can enjoy. Yeah, so basically, in the end, you as the designer, as the product owner, as the founder, you will be the one who will actually assess the usability of your product based on this qualitative feedback, based on data, based on things like heat maps if you use them, and so really it's not a question that you should be asking so directly, but there are ways that you can do it as we've shown here by creating an example and just taking it to the next level. So I think what this comes down to really is to pay attention to what users do and not what they say. So one of the most sort of common feedback we get on this topic of, how do I make my user testing more efficient is, I notice some testers will complete the test in 7 minutes, and I notice other testers will take 25. And again, what we would say is to pay attention to what they actually do in that time, and not what they say, because what you'll find is sometimes there are those little nuggets of information in that 7-minute test where you think, okay, this tester has rushed through it. It could just be the case that they've used your product before, they've used your website before, or they're very, very what would you say? They're very sort of tech agile, that they really know what they're doing when it comes to websites and all the rest of it, and they're just very quick and switched on. So in that situation, in that 7-minute test, you can really slow down and focus in on the areas that they've either struggled with, or the areas where they've done something that's kind of triggered a response in you. So if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, don't worry, because I'm about to explain it in a bit more detail. I didn't do a very good job there. But that kind of brings me on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is our automated transcripts. Because at the end of the day, we want to pay attention to what the users do, or the testers do, before we pay attention to what they say. So I'm just gonna have to stop sharing the screen at the moment. I do want to show you something. A slight technical issue here.
I've just stopped your screen sharing, Euan.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. I would be lost without you. Sorry guys, bear with me here. Yep, so I'm ready to share again. Sorry about that. Okay, we're all good now, Jonathan, yeah? Perfect. Right, so this is the Userbrain dashboard for those of you who are unfamiliar. So this is all, as you can see, Jonathan's staging area here. This is all highly classified confidential information. So this is the test that I just showed you an example of. And this is the test we did for Porsche. And I just want to show you a video here, just to demonstrate how our automated transcripts work. So this was a feature we actually released today, and it's going to be a real time saver for those of you who, I mean, there's in this this scenario, we ran 12 Userbrain testers. And obviously that is a lot of video to consume and to really take in. So if you are working on your own, as part of a team on your own, then we really think this automated transcriptions feature will help you. And I'm just going to show you why. So we're going to click on this tester here, Jay's video here, which was a particularly good test. I really enjoyed listening and watching what Jay did, because he had some great insights. And you know, I was strongly tempted to send this to Porsche because he really went into a lot of detail and discovered some cool stuff. So as you see, I've just clicked on transcript at the top here, and this is all generated by our AI system. So it's a speech to text automation. And again, we've just launched this today. So it's not 100% polished yet, but it will get better over time. We've been testing it for the past few weeks, and we're really excited about it and really happy with what we've found so far. So what you can do is, if you can see this, you can scroll through all these different timestamps, and this is what Jay is saying, our tester Jay is saying at a specific time. So I just want to play a little bit to you because I've spotted something here at 2 minutes 29 seconds in, because he's talking about what exactly the task is and what we need to do. And I think at this point, he comes up with some quite interesting insights about the usability of the Porsche website. So I'm just going to play this and let it play for about 30 seconds.
And we need to find something $100,000 or less. So let's go ahead and kind of take a look, okay? This is gas powered, I believe. This is not electric. Oh, no, it's an e-hybrid. Interesting. Okay. So I'm kind of going through, right? Let me look at the interior, right? I have to see what kind of seating capacity there is. Oh, wait, no, but that's more like the engine. Okay. So, hey, let's kind of flip it back here. All right. So we have the Cayenne concept, right? Build and price. Here we go. Okay. This should help me considerably, right? So I'm going to kind of scroll down here a bit. Technical specs. There we are. Okay. So let's see what the seating capacity looks like. Oh, it is really hard to find the seating capacity for some reason, right? Interior. So performance would well, no, that wouldn't be a fuel consumption. Okay, here we go. You get about 23 miles per gallon highway. What is the fuel tank capacity? 23 gallons. That's great for your 40-minute trip. So that would work. Also, we need to be able to try to find something with seating. There we go. 8-way comfort seats in the front, 4.
Right. So I think we get the picture here. What I love about this test from our tester, Jay, here. We don't know Jay, by the way. Jay is one of our 100,000 strong tester community. But I think this is a particularly good test because at first glance, if you're new to user testing, so I'm going to talk to the few of you that are maybe very new to this. You might think at first glance, okay, Jay's a bit erratic. You know, he's a bit all over the place here. He's up and down, and you know, he's not taking his time. But actually, what Jay is exhibiting here is, again, it's real human behavior. And when we are building our user tests, we have to take into account how people will react with our products and interact, with our product. So as you can see, from Jay's perspective here, this part of the Porsche website where he's trying to find very specific information, seating capacity, all the rest of it. Again, because we've immersed him in the task of you have a family, you need this, you need that, you're 40 minutes drive away from work. That's why he's now looking at these things on the website. And that's fantastic because he's really taking the task on board. But as you see, when he's looking for the seating capacity, when he's looking for the fuel tank capacity, what you'll notice is he's kind of bombarded with all of this information. And again, I'm not going to make this too much about Porsche's website because I actually think it's a very good website. But that, for me, if I was a UX designer for Porsche or product manager for this particular division, that would be something that would interest me. So again, what you can use the automated transcripts for, if you don't have time to watch the whole video, you can sort of zoom through and you can kind of look for areas of interest. You can look for sort of keywords that you can see. Simply click on the time.
You'll roast in the summer.
And then the video will start playing immediately. So personally, I think that's one of our best new features that we've launched in a while, and I'm really excited to see you guys use it. So yeah, again, off at a tangent slightly on this webinar, but we asked you at the start, or Jonathan asked you earlier, which part of user testing takes the most time, and it should be by far watching your videos and gathering the insights, gathering the feedback, collating all of the information, sharing the information with your stakeholders, with your team, and really trying to figure out a solution to any problems that you've encountered. And again, so when we're talking about time management and user tests, a lot of the time it's not actually the test setup itself. We have on the Userbrain website here, again, I'll just actually go in and show you. When you click create new test, we have these 5 templates here. So you have a lot to go on already, and you can get a good test set up with an immersive scenario if you already have it in your head in less than 5 minutes. Depending on the filters, the demographic filters that you use for your testers as well, you can get your results within an hour, depending again on the filters that you specify. So really, the main point of time management, I would say, is what we do after the results come in, after you get your test videos, and that's where we can save the most time. So thank you for bearing with me there as we go off on that little journey into our new feature. We will go back to the slideshow now. We're almost done. You'll be happy to know. We're in, well, I'm in Europe right now, and it's 7:38 p.m. here. So yeah, it's been a long day. But yeah, I'll make it really short and sweet. 3 mistakes to avoid. Don't reveal everything up front. Again, kind of try and get your testers into the zone. Ask them, you know, when if you have a car website, you know, when was the last time you purchased a car? Or if you're you know, something to do with laptops or whatever, you know, when was the last time you purchased a laptop, a guitar, or when was the last time you did this or that? That's a great way to start. Get them in the zone, and get them focused. Secondly, don't forget about the context. Yeah, you really need to share with the testers some kind of situation that they can imagine themselves in and that they can empathize with. Remember always to use that structure of imagine. That word imagine has so much power because it makes it fun. It makes it entertaining. The tester will want to complete your task to the best of their ability, rather than maybe rush through if it's something incredibly boring. Don't ask about usability as well. I think we've been sort of through that quite extensively. Pay attention to what your users are doing before you pay attention to what they're saying would be maybe a bonus point there too. Yeah, and on the same vein, kind of flip around the other way, here are 4 tips for a great test with great task structure, great time management. Remember to set the pace depending on how many tasks you have. Ideally, you want your test, as I said, to be between about 10 and 15 minutes. You know, so maybe just go through it yourself, kind of go through it and think, okay, I'm new to the website. That's going to take me, you know, a few minutes and all the rest of it, and kind of work out, okay, this is a good 10 to 15 minute test. From there, you know, you'll have a good idea that anyone completing this test is going to really take their time. Immerse your testers. Again, use the word imagine. Don't overuse it, of course, but put them into that scenario as best as you can. When you're done with your tests, the automated transcripts will save a lot of time. And a little bonus tip for you, our automated transcripts are actually available on all tests, and it's free of charge. So if you have any Userbrain plan, you'll be able to use the automated transcripts for free. We've not added it as a premium feature. And also what you can do is with your old tests that you've done previously before the feature was available, if you want to go back, all you have to do is, as I showed you, go into the test, open the video, and click transcript in the top right. And then you can click generate transcript, and the transcript of the whole video will be generated in no more than about 30 seconds. So again, that's a little extra bit of information. It's completely available for your old videos too. And finally, yeah, again, action speaks louder than words. Focus absolutely on what they're doing. So if you get a test result back, or a test video back, sorry, and it is 7-8 minutes long, and you were hoping for 14-15 minutes, it doesn't necessarily mean that that tester has rushed. It doesn't mean that your task was not good. It might just mean that your tester was very comfortable with your task and was able to do exactly what you wanted on your website. And sometimes we can get bogged down in user testing of thinking, okay, this is only to spot problems. This is only to spot things that are terribly wrong with my website. When in reality, it's also important to know that, oh, actually, there are users out there that can do all of these tasks in 7 minutes. And I think that's also worth remembering, that especially if you're the designer, you've done something right if you get a test result back, and then you can compare that result maybe with another tester who took 2 or 3 times as long to complete the task. And you can try and find out where they've gone wrong and where the other one has gone right, and then try and shape your website and design your website to make everything a little bit easier. So just something to keep in mind. I think that will be us for today. I really hope that's given you a good place to get started. If you have any questions, we'll do a Q&A now. So please put any questions in the Q&A or in the chat. But if you have any questions specifically related to your situation, either in your company, or you have questions about Userbrain, or you're looking for a specific package that maybe we don't offer, then please book a call with us. We have some resident user testing experts who will be more than happy to have a half-an-hour chat with you. I've added the QR code link there. And yeah, thank you very much for coming. Next week, we have a very special edition of the webinar. It's called User Testing in Practice. And we will be joined by Paul, the CEO of Clock.com, a very interesting time tracking tool and a good friend of Userbrain. And he is going to take us through his user testing workflow and how he's used that to basically take Clock to new heights. So that's going to be a really interesting one. So if you aren't doing anything at the same time next week, on Tuesday the 7th, then you're more than welcome to join. You can find the link on our LinkedIn page, or if you're subscribed to our newsletter, we will send out the details as soon as possible. And also, I'll send you the recording of this webinar in approximately half an hour. So if you needed to step out at any point, don't worry, the full thing will be available and also on YouTube. And just thank you to Jonathan for hosting as well. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone.